Section 7.4, Los verbos como gustar. So in section 2 of this book, they tried to explain gustar verbs, but I chose in that moment to not explain them to you because actually these sentences have a very complicated syntax. Syntax means the order of words in the sentence. So I'm going to explain to you the syntax of these sentences and also the verb gustar. There are also several other verbs like gustar. Let's just look at these two example sentences. Me gusta ese shampoo. I like that shampoo. In English, we translate it as I like this whatever, but what the literal meaning of it is that shampoo is pleasing to me. Or same thing with here. ¿Te gustaron las clases? Did you like the classes? Or rather, were those classes pleasing to you? Right? So, as you can see, the object being liked, in this case, shampoo or las clases, is really the subject of the sentence. And also, if you notice, the verb matches it. Like this one's singular because shampoo is singular, and this is plural, and the preterite tense because this is plural, right? Whereas the person who likes the object, in turn, is an indirect object because it answers the question, to whom is the shampoo pleasing? For example, to me. Or to whom are the classes pleasing? To you. Te, no? So, as the example shows, construction with gustar do not have a direct equivalent in English. And as I said before, the literal meaning of this construction is to be pleasing to someone, and it requires the use of an indirect object pronoun. Me, te, le, nos, os, le. Por ejemplo, ¿te gusta Juan Carlos? Is Juan Carlos pleasing to you? Or me gustan los cafés que tienen música en vivo. The cafes that have live music are pleasing to me. There are many other words, or several other verbs in Spanish that are also used like gustar. I would memorize these, commit them to memory, because they're very common, and they will also be on your quizzes and things. Aburrir means to bore. Encantar, to like very much, or to love inanimate objects, like I love this class, or I love coffee. Faltar, to lack or to need. Fascinar, to fascinate, to like very much. Importar, to be important to, or to matter. Interesar, to be interesting to or to interest. Molestar, to bother, to annoy. And quedar, to be left over, could be, or also could be to fit. So as I said before, these verbs have a very specific construction, and it can be broken down into essentially 6 parts. Calificador, referente, objeto indirecto, verbo, artículo, and sujeto. And they must always, always, always go in this exact order. Cribas. You can maybe remember it. So I'm just going to explain each one of these to you very briefly. Clarificador and referente always go together, and it's referring to the person to whom things are pleasing, or whatever. For example, a mí me gusta whatever. A ti could be a él, a ella, to him, to her, a usted, to you formal, a nosotros, vosotros, a ustedes, could even be people, like proper nouns, a Juan, a Julia, whatever. And from this, to the person to whom it's pleasing, you derive the indirect object. Por ejemplo, a nosotros nos gusta, whatever, whatever, or a usted le gusta, whatever, or a ustedes les gusta, a mí me gusta. So as you can see, these 3 parts of the sentences, or the sentence, are related, and they're referring to whom the pleasing is being done, or who likes this object. Where in the latter part of the sentence also all goes together. Usually, I like to start with the subject. For example, in this instance, I like Spanish. This is the actual subject of the sentence, and it determines the article adjective, either el, la, los, las, or este, esta, estos, estas, and it also determines the verb, which is either only singular or plural. For example, I like Spanish. A mí me gusta el español. It's el because español is singular masculine, and it's gusta because it's singular, right? For example, if we looked at dólares, I like dollars, right? A mí me gustan los dólares. In this instance, it's gustan and los because dólares is both masculine and plural. We're going to look at a few other sentence examples. This one, as I just said, a mí me gusta el español. Spanish, the Spanish is pleasing to me, pretty much. As you can see, this one's a little bit redundant. the a mí. In fact, a lot of times they'll even take this off if it's a mí or a ti, because me gusta el español means the same thing as a mí me gusta el español. Let's look at a few other ones. Let's say it's her that we're talking about. We're talking about her. A ella le gusta el español. Notice that this half of the sentence didn't change because we're still talking about el español. The only thing that changed is the referente and the objeto indirecto. A ella le gusta. Let's say we wanted to change the other side of the sentence. And now we're talking about españoles. Españoles being Spaniards, right? She likes Spaniards, or the Spaniards are pleasing to her, essentially. A ella le gustan los españoles. It is gustan because los españoles is plural, right? Like they are pleasing to her. But notice when we changed it from singular to plural, nothing on the left side of the sentence changed at all, right? Le gusta, a ella le. But when the subject becomes plural, that's when the verb and the article must also change to match that. So I like to think of them as sort of two separate sides of the sentence, and the whole blue box is sort of all goes together. A ellos les. How do I know it's les? Because who are we talking about? Them, right? To them. This whole sentence says a ellos les aburre la clase. The class is boring to them. Essentially, is what you're saying. Whereas also this whole side of the sentence all goes together. Clase, singular feminine, it's la because it's singular feminine, and aburre, not aburren, because it's a singular noun, right? Or for otro ejemplo, a ti te gustan las galletas. The cookies, las galletas, feminine plural, also plural. A ti te gustan las galletas. Las galletas are pleasing to you, right? Or al profesor le importa la clase. To the professor, the class is important to him, or rather the class matters, right? And why is it le? Because it's al profesor, right? And why is it importa? Because it's just una clase. Let's say though I had more classes. Obviously this side of the sentence doesn't change at all. Al profesor le importan las clases. It is las because clases is feminine plural, and importan because classes is plural. So once again, you can see how this whole side of the sentence affects each other and sort of is one half, and this whole side of the sentence also affects each other and is the other half.